Welcome to Status, your gateway to the decentralized web. As we become more connected via technology, we become part of a seemingly endless network of institutions and third-party services claiming to make our lives easier. These institutions serve as a trusted middleman to help facilitate our transactions. While this may sound great, serious problems exist. We now have a fragmented system of identities and passwords. We have placed far too much of our personal data in the hands of others, and we have given too much power to banks and legal systems. Luckily, there is another way. Enter the decentralized web and the Ethereum public blockchain. The blockchain is a decentralized database that stores a registry of assets, smart contracts and transactions across a globally connected peer-to-peer network. If used to its full potential, it will fundamentally change our conception of how the internet, finance, and law works. And it can completely eliminate our reliance on trusted third parties. It's not an app. It's not a company. It's not owned by anyone. Rather, it's an open system owned by everyone. So how do we interact with the next generation of the internet? How do we ensure it remains decentralized? Introducing Status. Just as browsers provide a gateway to websites and institutions, Status provides a gateway to decentralized apps and services. More than an app, Status is a community, governed by its own users, and gives access to a world free from controlling interests and censorship. It works with a number of decentralized apps built on Ethereum to replace your wallet and bank, combining them with a messenger and browser. Simply put, Status is an open portal to the future web. Meet Justin. Justin has recently moved from London to LA. It's a sunny morning, and Justin is ready to get his day started. He gets dressed, grabs his cell phone, and hits the road, feeling empowered with the capabilities of Status in his pocket. First stop is the local coffee shop. No wallet? No problem. Justin pays for his coffee with Ether from his Status wallet. While waiting for his coffee, he checks his stock portfolio and sees gold is up big overnight. Cha-ching! Time to cash out some of his holdings. Justin opens up Status and trades a portion of his Digix Gold tokens for a more stable currency. Not content with his gold earnings, he heads back to Status and starts scanning Ethlance for some work. He is a graphic designer and looking for a freelance gig. Within seconds, he finds numerous companies in his field looking for people just like him. He is in luck. He quickly finds a 2-week freelance gig for a local agency. They message back almost immediately. He is perfect for the job. They just need some background information before finalizing the contract. Via Uport, Justin shares the requested credentials to prove his identity. Justin has now paid for a coffee, conquered the markets, and landed a job, all while using Status. He has done this freely, without middlemen, and on his own terms. Status makes all of this possible in a simple and seamless way. Join Status now and become part of the decentralized web.
Imagine a company. This company has a lot of expenses. But what if you could remove those expenses and give the money saved to the shareholders as profit? Imagine you could be one of these shareholders, and you could trade your shares with anyone as easy as sending email, but without any middlemen, brokers, or commissions. Well, now you can with Bitshares. Bitshares are shares of digital companies that are traded directly from person to person over the internet. Digital companies exist entirely in software that runs on the computers of the customers that use them. Bitcoin was the first digital company that calls its shares coins and promoted their use as a form of money. Bitshares goes beyond Bitcoin to offer many new and more profitable companies in industries like banking, stock exchanges, auctions, music, voting, lotteries, insurance, and many more. Bitshares does for business what Bitcoin is doing for money. To learn more, explore bitshares.org.
Golem is a creature from Jewish mythology. It's a creation of man that collects all the bits of pieces. Well, Golem essentially is made of mud and creates something of sheer power and something that haven't existed before and give us opportunities and possibilities never seen before.
We are quite convinced that not so far into the future, internet will be much more decentralized than it is today. And this will require new infrastructure.
And Golem seems to be the ultimate solution to this problem. Not only to distribute computation, but decentralized distributed computation.
Golem is a new way of distributing computing between computers over the public network.
Where users can sell their redundant computation power to users who need it.
This means that you can compute your task on other people's machine.
Technically, Golem is a peer-to-peer network, meaning that users join on an equal basis and there's no central authority or no one is more important than anyone else.
You can use Golem for scientific computation, for AI. Artificial intelligence requires quite a lot of computation and distributed. You can split it into small tasks. I don't know, in chemistry, for example, you can search for new molecules. Golem would do the job perfectly.
For example, when you are an artist or an architect that has created this 3D model of a house, and we like to see a photorealistic image of it. So he can use Golem, split this task into smaller parts, then send it to the network. And each person will compute a small part of the image. And they will compute this in the same time, so everything will be quicker. And then the results will be sent back on the artist machine, and Golem will put it together.
Weather modeling, folding proteins, research for new medicals,
Or even mining cryptocurrencies. I would say that the sky is the limit.
Distributed computing is nothing new. You have it in the cloud, you have it even in hosting of services, you have it in a cloud storage. So what is really new that we plan to use not a bunch of servers somewhere in Google or in Amazon, but we want to give you a possibility of using the power of computers around you, contributed to the network by other people, your neighbors or people living in the same country or in the same continent for money. So you pay them for using their computers.
And this is where Golem, with its significantly lower prices, will be a very attractive alternative.
And of course, not we will pay the money, but other users who are in need of additional computing power will pay for using other users' computers.
The economics of our business model comes down to commissions for every transaction between users of Golem network. So this means there will be a fee on every completed computing task, or on every unit of time software as a service is applied to complete these tasks.
users can join Golem to become producers or consumers of computational resources, or to switch between the two roles.
This means that we will join the market of software as a service and infrastructure as a service, which could potentially grow by $40 billion over the next few years. Just the idea that you could rent your idle computing resources for money seems to be a very obvious way of organizing internet. But that is the technical part that is difficult. And this is what we spent last year on.
The first one is transaction system and payment system.
For microtransactions, the transaction fees, even with Bitcoin, are so large that they will sum up to an amount that is bigger than the payment. Okay? So we have to come up with some micropayment scheme.
We're going to use Ethereum. Ethereum is a new blockchain technology that can be used to implement a contract that would, using some sort of lottery, send the money to participants.
User that has to pay organizes a lottery in which only one participant gets paid. This lottery approach may seem unfair for most of the participants. But if a user takes part in a lot of lotteries over a period of, say, a few weeks, then over time, in the long run, her income would be predictably the same as if she were paid small amounts each time.
provided that you still take part in computation. That should make people more interested in taking part in it, we believe.
So you can imagine a Golem as some kind of extension of Ethereum that will bring market for sharing computing powers to the table.
There will be a problem with unfair users. For example, we can imagine a situation where there in the network are users who want to be paid, but they don't want to compute anything, or they just send wrong results.
We implement ranking protocol, especially for them, so that they won't take part in computation and the network in general. We know that they can appear from time to time, but we have to get rid of them as soon as possible so that other participants simply can do their job.
At the end of the day, we hope that Golem will not only give scientists and businessmen a new way of doing computation, but will also change the way internet is working.
Golem, for me, is a challenge. It's a very challenging problem, but the problem that we know how to solve. And yeah, it's undertaking that I believe can result in something spectacular.